In yesterday's lecture, we have seen the meaning of production planning and control and the various aspects regarding the production planning and control. Now in today's lecture, we are going to see the different types of studies involved in the operations management. What are the different types of studies involved in operations? Basically, what happens is that if we go by the meaning of the term operations, what we are doing, we are converting the raw material into finished goods by carrying out various operations. Now, generally what happens on the shop floor when actually the process is carried out of converting the raw material to finished goods, there are when the actual process is carried out, it is always beneficial for the organization to know or to examine whether the process of carrying out or converting the raw material to finished goods is profitable or it is carried out in efficient way or not, whether scientific principles are followed while carrying out the process or not of converting the raw material to finished goods. If not, then profit will or is going to decrease, losses are going to increase. Losses can be in the form of rejections, in the form of more capital investment required, in the form of scrap, anything. So this topic which we are going to study today deals with the various aspects which are going to occur on the shop floor where the actual raw materials are converted into finished goods. We are going to study or do analysis of the various factors which are required for carrying out the work of converting the raw material to finished goods in a smoother and efficient way. There are different types of studies involved for carrying out the operations of converting the raw material to finished goods. The various types of studies involved are called as time study, work study, method study. First of all, we will try to understand the meaning of the term study. Study is nothing but it means analysis of the work, analysis of the machines, analysis of the motions done by labor for converting the raw material into finished goods, or you can say it is the analysis of the overall conditions in which a raw material is converted into finished goods. Now we will try to understand the meaning of each term, that is time study, work study, method study, one by one. The first is coming as time study. What do you mean by time study? As the name is self-explanatory, time study aims or tries to find out the best time or minimum time of converting the raw material to finished goods. It is quite clear to everybody that if it is profitable for the company if less time is required for converting the raw material to finished goods. Suppose as an example, there are two jobs, job A and job B. Job A requires 20 minutes and job B requires 15 minutes, and company wants to select one job. Company will select job B, that is 15 minutes, because 5 minutes are saved if we compare with time with job A. So what I want to say is company or the organization always tries to have as less time as possible for converting the raw material into finished goods. So this time study involves analysis or study of time. If we go in a detailed manner, what actually we do in time study, in simple way, or if in simple terms, if you understand, in time study we divide the time into various times like loading time, processing time, unloading time, etc. Loading time means time required to load the job on the particular machine on which we are going to carry out the operation. Processing time is the actual time which is required for converting the raw material to finished goods, and unloading time is the total time required to unload the finished goods which was converted from raw material. So these are the various times. So what we actually do is we divide the total time into these three times, that is loading time, processing time and unloading time, and we try to bifurcate the total time. If the total time is 5 minutes, how much time will be required for loading, how much will be required for processing, and how much will be required for unloading. And if we are getting the values as 2, 3 or 1, 2, 1 and 2 plus 1 is 3 and 3 plus 2 is 5, total is 5 minutes. So we will try to reduce the time from 2 minutes to 1 minute, 2 minutes to 1 minute. In what way we can reduce the time so that the overall time which is required as 5 minutes will be coming to 3 minutes and 2 minutes. This is the analysis we do in, or actual work we do in time study. Time study involves now the question arises, how can we reduce the actual time? One of the answers for this question is by using special purpose machineries which can save time. What do you mean by special purpose machineries? A machinery on which we can carry out 2 to 3 operations at once. The next thing what we can do here is we will study the entire processes. If there are 4 to 5 processes, we will study the entire processes and we will eliminate those processes which are unnecessary and which are not required. After this, what we can do, we will try to give specific work to the worker. Means instead, if there are, say for example, there are 5 machineries and there are only 2 workers working on this 5 machineries. So one way what we can do is we will recruit more workforce and we will recruit 3 workers on the remaining 3 machineries. So that the work of 2 workers will be distributed among the 3 workers. Now there will be 5 workers for 5 machineries, independent 5 workers for 5 machineries. Now the question arises that some people will think that if we are hiring 3 workers, more cost will be involved in hiring them and giving them salary. No doubt more cost will be involved. But if you see, the workload of these 2 workers was getting reduced and will be distributed among the 3 workers, as a result of which each worker have to handle only 1 machine, and as the workload has reduced and is equally distributed, the time required for converting the raw material to finished goods will be reduced on each individual machine. So these are some practical adjustments we can do for under the time study. Basically, we have to find out the efficient way in which we will be able to convert the raw material to finished goods in less possible time if we do comparison with the set time or given time. This is nothing but the meaning of time study. Okay, now the next part which comes here is motion study. What do you mean by motion study? See, as I've told you the previous example, suppose now taking this example forward, if we recruit 3 more laborers on the remaining machines, now each machine has 1 labor and there are total 5 machines and 5 laborers. Now what we will do is we will study the motions or the movements done by the workers in converting the raw material to finished goods. Let us assume a single worker as A. He is working on the machinery 1, say for example. We will study the various movements done by the worker A on for converting the raw material to finished goods. Now suppose he is doing 6 here. Now suppose the motions or the movements are what he is doing are coming out to say for example 7 or 8 movements are there. Now we will bifurcate or eliminate these 7 or 8 movements done by worker A on machinery 1 into necessary movements and unnecessary movements. After bifurcating these 7 or 8 movements into necessary movements and unnecessary movements, we will eliminate the unnecessary movements and we will keep the necessary movements or required movements for converting the raw material to finished goods. This thing will be done for each and every machinery or each and every worker. Total number of movements will be counted and will be represented by number 10 movements, 11 movements, 12 movements. Then further it is bifurcated into 2 parts: necessary movements or essential movements and unnecessary movements or non-essential movements. The non-essential movements or unnecessary movements are eliminated and only the necessary or the essential movements are there. This whole process is called as motion study. We are doing nothing but studying the motions of the workers. Why we are doing this? It is done to remove useless motions, and improve the motions, improve the output rate, because you see, if the unnecessary motions are eliminated, more and more output will be produced if we take 1 hour rate or 1 day rate. So as a result, doing this is enhancing the profitability of the company. How? Because removing unnecessary motions will increase the production rate per hour at lower cost. Unnecessary motions are eliminated, so rejection time or loss of time is also eliminated. Production rate increases the profitability, so it is ultimately benefiting the company only by removing the unnecessary process. This is the meaning of motion study in practical way. This motion study is either recorded by a camera or on a timeometer, or by measuring the time. It can be measured in any way. It depends on the person or the operations engineer who is working on the shop floor looking after all these activities. If you see, there are certain under the production manager in production department, there are certain lines. For example, there are 6 lines. The production manager is not handling is not only entirely handling all the 6 lines. The 6 lines will be given to the different subordinates who are working under the production manager, so that he can look after all the aspects of the production department. So what I want to say here is, in time study we are studying the time, bifurcating the time into 3 parts, as I have told you. In motion study, what we are doing is we are studying the motions of number of motions required for converting the raw material into finished goods, and we are removing unnecessary time in time study and unnecessary motions in the motion study. It is useful not only from the profitable point of view, not only from the profitable point of view, but from the cost aspect also. If the unnecessary motions are removed, scrap or rejection is reduced, cost is saved, incentives given to the laborers will be high. So it is, you can say in one sentence that time study and motion study is beneficial to the company from every single aspect. You take any aspect, it is beneficial to you. So nowadays many companies are relying on this time study and motion study. I am not saying that it was not used previously. It was used previously, but now in today's competitive environment, the usage of time study and motion study has increased up to a very large extent. Specifically, if a company is starting a particular factory or manufacturing in a certain location, then there, for standardizing the processes, this time study and motion study is carried out at a very great extent. Many people are called out from outside. Consultants are called from outside just to study the entire production processes, suggest the best possible time or the least possible time to convert the raw material into finished goods, and so on. In the factory where the processes are set, there is no requirement, but where actually the standardization has to be done, if the factory is newly set up, then there before starting the regular production, all these things are carried out before starting the regular production. So it is having a very great or more huge weightage in setting up the production process in a proper way. Time study as well as motion study. Now if we move forward, before commencing the time study, before starting the time study, what we have to do is human effort. What human effort means, the workers' effort should be minimum, as some 3 or 4 points are given here. The operations sequence of the operation should be finalized. Say for example, as I have told you, the previous example, taking that previous example here only, if there are 5 machineries on which 5 different operations are going to be carried out, their sequence should be correct. It should not happen that the sequencing is wrong. If the sequence is going to wrong, if sequence is not correct or it is going wrong, then it will affect or enhance. It will affect the efficiency of the company or the profitability of the company in a very bad way. You can say after that, the workplace or the planning of the work. Planning of the work means, what do you mean by planning of the work? If you go by the first point, planning of the work, I am taking from last to first. If you go by planning of the work, what do you mean by planning of the work? Actually, planning of the work means, I will explain this to you with a simple example. Suppose there are 3 production lines in a company for converting the raw material to finished goods. Now it is the responsibility of the production manager to make sure that all the 3 lines are utilized to the best possible extent. It should not happen that only one machineries present in the one line are used and the remaining 2 are remaining idle. The effort of the production manager should be in a direction that every single machinery is used equally, so that all the three possible lines are engaged and there will be no production loss. This is the meaning of planning of the work. If there are, say for example, planning of the work involves each and every studying of each and every aspect of the production department, like planning, finalizing the routing, scheduling, inspection. These are the functions of PPC which we have studied in the previous lecture. So doing all these functions in a proper way, looking after that every single line is utilized in a better way. All this is nothing but the meaning of planning of work, nothing else. Now the next part which is coming is called as work study. What do you mean by work study? As I have told you, or if you go by the meaning of this term work study, time study and motion study, if we combine, we get work study. Work involves time as well as motion. So we can say the sum of time study or motion study is nothing but work study. In work study, we try to study the various factors which are going to play a pivotal role in the actual production or the operation for converting the raw materials to finished goods. If we try to explain this in different way, we can say that work study involves the best possible use of the resources. What are the different resources? We have seen this already: man, material, machine and money. Usage of all these resources to the best possible extent is nothing but the work study. So this is the meaning of work study. Now coming to the next part, that is called as method study. What do you mean by method study? Method, if you go by the meaning of the term method means technique. Technique of what? Of doing a job, of installing a machinery, of achieving the lowest cost. Technique can be of anything. Technique means the way in which any work can be done in a more efficient way. The work can be of installing the machinery, the work can be of doing a job on and whole, the work can be of utilizing the available resources, the work can be of how to maintain the lowest cost, the work can be of anything. Method study is nothing but the technique study in which the work is carried out. This method study is the last part of the study. First we have seen the time study in which we are studying the time, then we have seen the motion study in which we are studying the motions. The addition or the combination of this is the work study, and method study is the combination of all the three which we have seen previously, that is time, motion as well as work, because method involves all these three things: time, motion and work. In method study we study all these three processes, all these three things or aspects in a way so that we will improve our method or technique, so that our profits are increased, cost will be minimum. This is nothing but the meaning of, you can say, the method study. Now method study why it is important or why it is having a huge importance in today's specific competitive environment. As I have told you, automation has increased up to a great extent in today's competitive environment. Many complex manufacturing processes are done by the use of robot. So if an organization has taken a decision to use robots or to do automation, then this entire studies, right from the work study, right from the time study, motion study, then the work study and method study, has to be carried out before transferring that work from humans to robots. So what I can say here is that to enhance the production rate, increase the profitability, maintaining the production cost at certain level, these studies plays a very pivotal or important role. You cannot achieve the objectives of the organization without improving the or without using this. All these things which I have told you or explained you till date, what is the meaning of all this? It is nothing but trying to improve the conditions, working conditions on the shop floor by doing all the studies. Why we are doing all the studies? Studying of time, motion and everything, etc, etc. This is done just to improve the working conditions on the shop floor so that profitability is maintained and minimum cost is achieved. Because minimum cost plays a very pivotal role. Profitability, we cannot have same profit or huge profit throughout the year of 12 months. At some point of time the profit is going to decrease, at some point of time the profit is going to increase. You don't have to worry when the profit is more, but at the time when the profit is less, then you have to use these techniques to have control on the production cost so that your profit will be maintained. This is simple meaning of this. Now the next part which we are moving towards is called as job evaluation. Job evaluation. What do you mean by evaluation? Evaluation means to evaluate, to analyze the working conditions, the salary or the money given to the workers, to assign the work depending upon the previous performance, whether to give promotion to the worker, whether to give more responsibility to the workers. The decisions of all these things which I have mentioned here is coming under the job evaluation. If you see, whatever I have told you regarding the job evaluation, not only this is involved in job evaluation, but job evaluation also involves study of wage structure. What do you mean by study of wage structure actually? I will tell you with a simple example. In any organization, there are different works carried out by different persons working. Some have more responsibility. Some people have more responsibility. Some people have less responsibility. Now, many times it happens in the organization that the description of the work is clear, but the amount of salary given for doing the work is not clear. Wage structure is not clear. Many times it happens in practical aspect that the persons who has to do more work is given not that much money what regarding the or amount of the work he is doing. So for maintaining the level of motivation among the employees, it is the primary duty of the organization to make sure that whether each and every employee working in that organization are getting the right amount of money for whatever work he is doing. This is nothing but also a part of job evaluation, analyzing the wage structure. So what we will do in analyzing the wage structure, the persons who are having more responsibility should be paid higher. The persons who are having less responsibility should be paid lower. It simply means paying as per the responsibilities or work carried out. The companies where the motivation level of the employees are higher, which reflects in their work and which also reflects in the profits of the company at the year end when the results are declared. In all this process, these companies have done the job evaluation in very detailed manner. In a very detailed manner. Many times in practical aspect, it happens that job description, apart from job description, many other works has to be done by the employee. And in today's world, if you see, many companies face the problem of employee attrition, employee turnover. People leave the organization. One of the major reasons of leaving the organization by many employees who are either freshers or experienced people is that they are not getting the salary or the monetary benefits which they should get. So why this happens? This happens because of improper wage structure or improper evaluation of the job. Many companies tend to say that we are having a uniform wage structure or we are doing the evaluation of the job in right way. Then why this type of employee attrition or employee turnover is there? What I want to say is that employee turnover, the lack of uniformity in the wage structure is a very, very important reason in employee attrition or employee turnover. Many people leave the organization. The main reasons can there can be many reasons, but one of the major reason is this lack of wage structure or lack of job evaluation. So description of the job, division of the work, paying as per the responsibility, and keeping the motivation level high of the employees is very, very important for any organization to survive in today's competitive environment. Now the next part is the job description and specifications. As I have told you, when any person joins any organization, he has given the company gives him the amount of duties he has to perform, in what way he has to perform, to whom he has to report, anything. If you see any if you upload your resume on naukri.com, say for example, as per your qualification, you will receive emails from different companies regarding their openings, and when you open that particular folder or email, there is a part called as job responsibilities, which shows point number 1, point number 3, different responsibilities to be carried out by the candidate of any post, and accordingly he's paid. So job description involves the amount of responsibilities the candidate or that person has to perform when he joins any particular organization. This is the meaning of job description and specifications. Now the next part which comes in job evaluation is systems of valuation. Valuation means we are valuing the employee, or valuing the employee means we are valuing the work of the employee performed by him. What do you mean by valuing the work of the employee? See, we have joined them, we have a suitable number of employees, but just by having the employees, our work has not finished. We have to value the employee. Value the employee in simple terms means by considering certain parameters, we have to see that whether the work done by the employee is benefiting the organization, or in more simple terms, you can say it is nothing but the assessment of the employee. As the papers are assessed by the examiners to see how or what content is written by the student, in similar manner the organization in every year for a certain period assess the work done by the employee. It has to make sure that the employee is fulfilling his duties in very good manner. Not only this, whatever I am telling is coming under job valuation, job or valuation. In valuation, certain other things are there, like what are the difficulties faced. If there are certain difficulties faced by the employee in performing his work or his duties, what are the difficulties? Difficulties regarding the persons, difficulties regarding the accessibility to some information. Difficulties can be anything. Many times it happens in the organization that responsibilities are different and persons has to do some different work, or many times, or you can say apart from the responsibilities, he has to perform number of tasks. So whether the job responsibility given to him is actually followed, and if not followed, then how it should be followed. All these things or all these parameters should be taken into consideration before valuing or assessing the employee's performance. The difficulties he has to face, whether he's having any good qualification he has achieved while doing the job or before the job, how is the working conditions in which he is working. Considering or taking into aspect all these parameters, the valuations or the assessment of the employee is done. All this is a part of, you can say, job description. All this is a part of job evaluation. So in short, we can say job evaluation is nothing but assessment of the employees considering the different parameters, which includes wage structure, job responsibility, job difficulties, working conditions, so that employee retention will be there and employee turnover will be less. If you see the best 10 performing companies of India, who are consistently ranked among the best places to work for the employees, their attrition rate or employee leaving turnover rate is very less, because the satisfaction level of the employees working there is very high. Every person knows exactly what work he has to do. He is given work according to that, increments are given according to that, so their satisfaction level is very high. They will not even think of leaving the organization. So as a result, it reflects in their profit, in their team spirit of working. So this plays a pivotal role, you can say, in enhancing the profitability of the employee. Okay, so after this we will be seeing different methods. In what are the methods, what till the time what I have told you are the factors or the parameters regarding the job evaluation. Now we will try to understand the methods of job evaluation. What are the different methods of job evaluation? We have to see that. Now the various methods which are used for job evaluation are: first one is the ranking or grading method. What we do in ranking or grading method, we take different cards on which the job description or job title is written. Job title means, say for example, management trainee, deputy manager, general manager, senior general manager. These different titles are written, or if there are workers, for workers in new joinee, 1 year experience, 3 year experience, different titles are written on the, what I want to say is different titles are written on the cards. Then after writing the different titles on the cards, whatever amount of money he is getting at the end of the month or for a particular day, based on that amount the hourly rate is calculated, which can be any number depending upon the amount of money he is getting at the end. After carrying out the hourly rate by doing the calculation with reference to the final amount he is getting, grades are given or assigned based on the job title. Means first grade to, say for example, a person who is having experience of 10 years. Second grade is to a person having 8 or 6 years experience. Then the third grade. In this way, grades are given depending upon the job titles or the year of experiences which a person has in that job. Is nothing but the meaning of ranking or grading methods. Giving grades as per the job title is the meaning of ranking or grading method. Next thing is factor comparison method. The basic difference between the first method and the method which we are going to study here is, in factor comparison method we go in much detail. Much detail means we are not only concerned with the titles of the job, but we take into consideration the factors or parameters in which the work or the job is going to be performed. The factor like, what are the physics, is there any physical amount of energy or physical requirement is there for doing a job, how much mental requirement is there for doing a job, whether that job requires any special skill like decision making, analysis, whether working conditions, how the working conditions are there, whether the job requires more responsibility or less responsibility. In simple terms, we can say we do study of factors for doing the job in a very detailed or minute manner before assigning or giving them certain rankings. So you can say factor comparison method is more detailed study compared with the ranking or the grade method. The results, if we compare from the factor comparison method, are more accurate as compared to the ranking or the grading method. The next is the point rating method. What we do in point rating method, we will assign the weightages. There are three methods in point rating method: straight point method, weighted point method, and the valuation of jobs is there. The first straight point method is we assign equal weightages to equal characteristics. So say for example there are 6 characteristics for doing a job, then these 6 characteristics or 6 requirements will be given 6 weights. Every characteristic will get every weightage, and then the evaluation of the job is done considering all these 6 characteristics with minimum possible points for one characteristics and maximum possible points for another characteristics. Okay, this is under the straight point method. Second is the weighted point method. What we are doing in weighted point method, instead of taking the characteristics in this method, what we are doing is we are assigning the points. We are assigning the points to different characteristics, but it is not equal. It is not equal. The previous example which I have told you, that 6 characteristics have 6 points. In this method, what we can do is 6 points will not be equally distributed for 6 characteristics. It can happen that only one characteristic will have 6 points, or 2 characteristics have 3 points. In simple terms, you can say in weighted point method, there is unequal distribution of points for every characteristic, but in straight point method there is equal distribution of points for every characteristics. And the last method under this is direct to money method. As the name is self-explanatory, here money is given directly to the based on the characteristics or the points given to those characteristics. The minimum points given to the characteristics will have that amount of that money in that proportion. The characteristics which have given maximum point will have money according to that proportion. So what I mean to say is that money is given to any job considering the importance of the characteristics. This is all the simple meaning of direct to money method. So this was all about the various studies of which are performed on the shop floor to improve from the existing methods. I hope these points are clear to you. So this was all in this part. In the next lecture we will start the actual problems of assignments. So if you have any suggestions or feedbacks regarding the quality of the video, your suggestions are most welcome. Thank you for your time. Thank you.